Hey y'all, apparently my channel's been around for 5 years. I didn't know this until I logged into YouTube analytics today. Um, and I thought, you know what? Why not? I'll just give you guys a little bit of a treat, a little bit of an insight into my personal life. Today's video is bands that fell off because one of the members left. And to clarify, that excludes bands who like completely broke apart. I'm talking about bands who decided to stay together even just in name after one or more of their members left and they just don't hit the same. Like their newer albums aren't that good. Um, they just overall aren't the same band without this one member or without a few of their members. By the way, this video is completely unscripted. I'm just going off the top of my head. Oh, right. First up, we have Ice Nine Kills, one of my favorite bands. You're going to notice that a lot of these bands are metal bands. Yeah, I like metal a lot. You have a problem with it? Suck my balls. But the members of Ice Nine Kills that really defined it were the members from 2010 to 2018. So at the time, that was lead singer Spencer Charnas, who's still in the band, lead guitarist Justin DeBleek, who left the band, bassist Justin Moreau, who is now with Motionless in White, and drummer Connor Sullivan, who I do not remember what he's doing right now. But these were the at the time. This is the Ice Nine Kills that I think of. They're the Ice Nine Kills. Besides Connor Sullivan, who left right before they wrote Silver Scream. This is the ones that produce. This is the group that produced the best Ice Nine Kills albums. They produced every trick in the book. They produced Predator Becomes the Prey. I believe they even produced the redo of Safe as Just a Shadow, which, I mean, they're not really writing anything new, but I mean, still they knew the songs and whatnot. And most of them produced Silver Scream, and to be honest, Silver Scream 2 is kind of dog shit. They fell off in every sensible way. A lot of the songs for Silver Scream 2 have a direct comparison to 1. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll give you the basic concept. The Silver Scream was an album entirely based off of horror movies. Each song was a different horror movie. Silver Scream 2, which is just the second album, had the same concept, with one notable exception, which is Welcome to Horrorwood, which was like their kind of summation anthem, basically just a big old anthem for the whole track, and it's actually, in my opinion, one of the best songs on that album. But overall, Ice Nine Kills was just not that great on Silver Scream 2. I mean, the guitar playing was just, it was good. It was whatever. But Silver Scream 1, Justin DeBleek had some of the cleanest breakdowns. The bass line on 1 is way cleaner if you actually listen to it like deeply. And the breakdowns in general do not hit in 2. Maybe they gave Spencer a little too much power for, I think, Assault and Batteries, which is the Child's Play song. But that song just sinks the album. It is just horrid. I mean, there's so much sound pumped in, and it's just so awkward and cringy that, like, when I first heard it, I was like, all right, this is an all right song. But the more you listen to it, it has no replayability value because it's just bad. The main riff isn't all that great. It's got a really weird structure to it. It's unpleasing to listen to. If you're like an extreme linear metal fan where you have no, I mean, there is a chorus, but if you're not a big fan of total choruses, it might be for you. But overall, it just was not as good. Even though this one technically had a better reception, it was more downloaded than the first one was. But the songs were just like, I'm gonna read you off a list. I do have a list because I just pulling up the album list on Apple Music. All right, so for Silver Scream 1, right? You have The American Nightmare about Freddy Krueger, or about like Nightmare on Elm Street. Thank God It's Friday about Jason Voorhees and Friday the 13th. Stabbing in the Dark about Halloween. Savages about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Jig Is Up about Saw. This song fucking rocks as well. A Grave Mistake, which is about The Crow, which is like a horror. It's a horror movie, but it's more horror adjacent. Rocking the Boat about Jaws. Enjoy Your Slay about The Shining. All of these are really good like horror movies that they just did not have movies like these they were covering, and they didn't have songs like those covered up. The worst song on the Silver Scream by far is either Savages or Freak Flag, because they just did the same thing twice, or like they did the verse twice over when I think Spencer was just running out of lyrics at that point. But they're still good verses, and the songs are still good. I mean, they're still like 9 out of 10 as songs. The worst song on 2 is Assault and Batteries, which is like a 4 out of 10. And the best song on 2 is still a 10 out of 10, which is nice. But like, the fact that Rainy Day, which is an incredibly mid song, is not your worst song, and Worst Vacations, which is about Hostel, which is a good but not great song, is also not your worst song. It tells you just that the overall quality of Silver Scream 2, Welcome to Horrorwood, or Welcome to Horrorwood, the Silver Scream 2, it's just not as good. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they just could not get the same talent on the instrumentals. They gave Spencer a little too much control, in my opinion, because he wrote some whack shit for the, or like just, I don't know, just he wrote some really whack lyrics as well for the second one. Some of them are just kind of goofy. I think that Assault and Batteries was just the epitome of why. Why is this band doing this thing? It just does not make sense. Whereas if you look at some of the older stuff with those 4 members, with Justin Moreau, with Justin DeBleek, with Connor Sullivan, and with Spencer, they work better as a band. Like as a band, coherently, they work really nice. Some of the guitar lines on Predator Becomes the Prey, the opening to Let's Bury the Hatchet Inside Your Head is, oh my goodness, it is awesome. There is not openings like that anymore. And actually the riff after the opening of American Nightmare, you know what I'm talking about if you've heard the song. And if you haven't, just listen to it. It is the cleanest fucking metal riff I might have ever heard. It is just a little like fill, and it's really good. They don't really have that now. It's just kind of like Spencer Charnas and a bunch of misfits and his backup singer. And yeah, it just, you know, they just kind of fell off a little bit. I still want to see them live, and they were awesome live because they played a little more of their old stuff, and I liked it. And obviously, some of the songs on 2 are really good. I really like A Rash Decision, the one based off Cabin Fever. I really like the shower scene, the song based off Psycho. That song is really good. Farewell to, like, the latter half of the album is actually pretty good, besides FLY, which is based off The Fly, if you couldn't guess. But just the first 2 songs, besides A Rash Decision and Horrorwood, are just kind of meh. It's really just Assault and Batteries. It just kills the album, in my opinion, because they never did anything half that bad. Besides, like, the coffin is moving when the big 4 that I told you about earlier were still in the band. So yeah, that's just kind of why Ice Nine Kills fell off. All right, another metal band coming up. I think it's gonna be all metal. We're gonna talk about now From Ashes to New. Holy shit, what can I say besides you need a new singer? Danny Case is not the solution. I don't know how you guys went through an audition process and then you somehow came out with the guy who only shout sings every single song. Like Chris Muser, obviously he was going to leave the band regardless. But the story for, like, From Ashes to New is not the same as Ice Nine Kills. The story for them is that they had the opportunity to still be just as good. Like, Matt Brandeberry is fucking amazing. He wrote some really good, like, rap lines, and he also actually has a half decent voice when you hear him kind of sing. And the new drummer they got when the old one left, he's good as well. He's still doing double kick stuff at least. But, like, why did you guys go with Danny Case? Why? He shout sings every song. He has sounded good in a total of 1 album. And I'm talking about in totality. So, like, he sounded, you know, all right on some of the songs that you guys put on the future. That album would have been good if you had anyone else. First of all, write the choruses, and then secondly, sing them. If you don't believe that he did ruin that album, let me give you a sort of overview of what he did. All right, Wake Up is an amazing song. I don't care anyone who says otherwise. Crazy, he, like, again, shout sang the chorus and he goes really high. That didn't work. My Name is good as well. Gone Forever, also pretty decent. Broken, he ruined. This is the song that I knew, fuck, it's over. Because I'm standing at the top. He just shout sings. It sounds like that the whole time. It's so painful to listen to. Forgotten, he did not ruin. That song is unruinable. It's the best on the album. It's amazing. Enemy, he didn't ruin, but that song wouldn't have been great anyways. It was good for what it is. Nowhere to Run is bad anyways. I don't remember. I haven't listened to it too recently. It's not good, but I don't remember if Matt Brandenburry has a rap verse on this one. So if it was all Danny Case, it just proves my point. He just why is he still here? Let Go. I mean, he actually did good on this one. I'll admit that he didn't ruin it. He did a good verse. The Future though, it's just such a mixed bag. Like he has some good chorus or some good parts of the chorus. I don't know if he wrote that chorus, but it's not a great chorus to like have written in the first place. All right, that's just on The Future though. Panic, he actually did good. I can't complain about anything that he said or anything that he sang in this album. That album's really good. Yeah, no complaints from him, or no complaints for him from me. But Blackout, I mean, he just kind of fucked this album. Also, not enough Matt. When you're a rap rock group, I assume you want a guy rapping. Why is your rapper just sort of occasionally doing a verse? I know he didn't run out of ideas because he had some of the best verses on rap rock I've ever heard in Day One, which was their first full album. Not to mention, they kind of got rid of the apocalyptic theme for a whole album, which is why I'm not a big fan of Panic. From Ashes to New is like they have a theme ongoing of them being apocalyptic, right? So Day One, or they started out with just the From Ashes to New EP. But even like the album cover for that is very like a guy in a gas mask, two divided cities, one really like one burning and one very beautiful, like the ashes to the new. You know, I get it. Day One looks like a fucking meteor is about to blow up in the kid's face. That's apocalyptic, and also every single song in that album had some sort of tone, with like an apocalypse coming or whatnot. It just sounds like it's something I'd hear. I mean, I thought they were going to invent a new genre with apocalyptic rock. They did not, in fact, do that. I mean, The Future was an attempt to do that. And then they had songs like Crazy on there, which just... I don't know why people like that song. It's just mid. It's mediocre. But if you compare the cover arts, basically, for The Future and Day One and From Ashes to New, and even Blackout, actually, their most recent one, to Panic, you can see that someone decided to break the trend, which makes Panic, the album which Danny Case sounds the best on, kind of stick out, which is not good. Now, one thing I will say is that he did well when covering other people's songs. Danny Case did well when covering Beat It, when covering Decode, and God, when they covered Faint as well. Like, he shout sings every song, but somehow I don't understand sometimes. It worked. One thing to note is that it did not work on every single cover, because I just listened to their cover of All I Want for Christmas Is You. Yes, that one by Mariah Carey. And he shout sings again, and it doesn't work this time. It's when he goes from Make My Wish Come True, the way he carries the note is not good. It's not good. It's bad. I swear to God, if Chris was still in the band, it's like that song would have been funny or good. I just think that he's not all that great of a singer for covers, but it just doesn't work for the From Ashes to New songs. I feel like it's a betrayal of what Chris Musser did, which was really good, and you could hear there was a lot of emotion in his voice regardless without him shouting it. And if you're confused with what shout singing is, it's basically just blasting every single note at the top of your lungs, and you're over singing some vowels. It's not appealing to my ears. Maybe it's just me, but I think that they actively got worse when they chose to put Danny Case as the lead singer. All right. For the final band, the third and final band, we're going to be looking back to 2008. What were you doing in 2008? I was 2 years old, so I wasn't doing shit. But looking back at this band's catalog, it's clear to say that, 2008, it was a peak. Well, it wasn't the peak, but it was a peak. It was a really nice time to be a fan of this band, probably. I don't know. I was 2 at the time, but definitely should not have been listening to their music. And then their lead singer decides to leave. I'm, of course, talking about Hollywood Undead. But I'm not talking about Hollywood Undead as the band, because Notes from the Underground exists. And that album peaked number 2, like, globally, for just all albums, not even rock. It was number 1 in every single, like, form of rock. But it was number 2, just on the regular Billboard Top 200 or whatever the hell. No, I'm talking about Deuce, the guy who left. Because there are still avid supporters who think that he made that band good. He didn't. Because his abilities as a rapper, bleh. His abilities as a singer, they're all right. Danny replaced him and sang more cleanly, and did change the sound to be more rock oriented, but also made the sound better. Because the style of hip hop they were doing, I mean, it's only going to age so well. Whereas the rap rock, going like full rap rock, worked a lot better. And they still did have some actually good, well-aging party songs from the from the later on or older times in their run. But now Deuce, part of his struggles were with his label, but overall he just didn't do some great songs. I mean, I'm gonna go through his catalog right now on my phone. All right, so let's take a look at what he did after Hollywood Undead. He did that diss album, like half diss album, where he used Dead in Ditches, which definitely did not age well. Look up that song on your own discretion, but you have a right to be pissed off. I'm not, because I really don't care. But still, it's not a great look to have that now. And also, it just went live recently on like Spotify and Apple Music. You definitely don't want some of those words being said now. It's the song When We Ride. But yeah, 9 Lives, that was a good album. It was an alright album. Let's Get It Crackin' is shit. Help Me is actually kind of decent and pretty funny. America is good. That song's really good. I Came to Party is eh. The One is good. Freaking Out was really funny and also really disgusting. Nobody Likes Me didn't age the best. It's got the shout sing problem that From Ashes to New is actually facing, which is really funny, considering Deuce was their big feature on day one. And Walk Alone, that one's actually still pretty good. But Till I Drop, that one hits different. It's also should not be listened to in this decade. Gravestone, still good, and Now You See My Life, they're all good. All good. There was actually some good rap verses from Truth, who was Deuce's buddy, who is he's the What Is Drugs guy, or whatever. The guy who got caught like just fucking booking it down some freeway in LA. I don't know, I don't live in that fucked up city. And yeah, he's the What Is Drugs guy. So just look up the What Is Drugs meme. That's him. That's Truth. And moving on to his next album. Truth got arrested at this point, so he was out of the band. It was Invincible. Now, the original Invincible album, like what it was supposed to be, was actually pretty decent. It had all the songs that you'd find on the Nightmare EP, but it had them on the Invincible album. The problem with the songs they actually put on the final Invincible album is that none of them were good. Because Nightmares were all the good songs were. Maybe like Thank You and Pull Me Under were good. Maybe. The song Invincible is I don't know why you'd go with a whole album off of it. But some of the songs they made him write are just dog shit, and you can tell he doesn't want to write them. And if the they here is the record. He originally had some problems with his record, So he had to release this album under a different record, and they actually got a music video for this album, but they couldn't even get Deuce to appear in them, or appear in the music video, which is really funny because you can tell that he hated his label at this point. But when Nightmare finally came out, like the EP, that's where all the good songs were. I mean, this is at least some sort of like, I'm praising this guy a little bit, because Bleed was good. Do You Think About Me is amazing. Famous, Look at Me Now, Miracle are all great, and also Nightmare. Actually, he does do rapping decent. Because to be honest, he's not that great of a rapper. His buddy Gadget is way better. Truth was way better than him. He was always around better rappers, and he had some occasional decent verses. But like, his voice is just not made for rap. It's a little more made for singing. And even then, I mean, he was a good producer. Because that's where he gets his nickname. He was the producer, so hence they gave him the nickname Deuce. But also, like a Deuce, he kind of shit the bed for the last few albums. Also, the recent stuff he put out is the worst, like, few albums I think I've ever listened to, and the fastest undownload, because I downloaded it before I listened to it. I undownloaded it right after I listened to it because it was horrid. I don't think I found a single bright spot on Collateral Damage, or, I'm taking a look, Triceratape. I don't know, man. These people just, like, why? Why did he think any of that was good? I don't know if he's just not good anymore. It's not like the others where they're still decent bands. Like From Ashes to New is still a good band, and Ice Nine Kills is still one of the biggest metal bands in the world. I just prefer their older sounds, and I don't like Danny Case that much. Not as a human, I think he's a fine human, but as a singer, actually I don't know anything about how good of a human he is, so I won't put that statement out there. But still, as a singer, I just don't like him that much. I did some good stuff occasionally. I thought Chris Muser was better. But with Deuce, like, he's just not been good ever. Since, like, he's not been good past, like, fuck, I'm just rambling too much. He's not been good since Nine Lives came out. And he had a few, like, he had the Nightmare EP, sure, which was originally supposed to be just the good songs on Invincible. But one EP in a solid 6 years after your last good thing that you made is just, it's not a good look. At that point, Hollywood Undead, his former band, had put out, I believe it was, I mean, between the Nine Lives, or whatever the hell it's called. God, I look like an idiot right now. Yeah, between the Nine Lives album and the Nightmare EP, Hollywood Undead had put out 3 studio albums. They put out Notes from the Underground, which charted number 2, and beat the shit out of Nine Lives. They put out Day of the Dead, which is their worst album easily, but I mean, it was still better than Invincible. And they put out 5, which is easily better than Invincible, because there's actually, like, some really good songs on there. You just look at what he did after he left that band, and you just realize, you know, he was kind of the one holding them back in Swan Songs a little bit. But hey, that's about it. And if I had to rank these bands in order of who I think fell off the hardest, obviously Deuce it'd be Deuce, Ice Nine Kills, From Ashes to New, because From Ashes to New has still had a whole good album, like a solid album up to their previous standards, since Chris Muser left the band. Whereas Ice Nine Kills, they've only produced one album since. They're, like, everyone left, and there wasn't really a breakup. They just chose to do other projects. Since that whole thing happened, they've only produced one album, which, you know, it's not totally fair. They've been touring a lot. I saw them live. I think I mentioned that earlier. It was really fucking sick. I got a whole video of American Nightmare being played. It's my favorite Ice Nine Kills song. And, you know, obviously, they have had some good songs since then, but they haven't had a whole good album like From Ashes to New has, and they haven't as much been a functioning collective band like From Ashes to New has. And Deuce, obviously, that man's just been a train wreck since 2012. Feel bad for him a little bit, but also maybe not, because he's a guy, apparently. Just check out the Shady Jeff story if you want any more info. But anyway, that's all I have. That's all I have for this video. It's been 5 years since this channel started, and the ranting has only been for about 3 now, I think. I don't know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, and you're new, be sure to like and subscribe. We're almost at 500 subscribers, which means I could start earning money. I'd still produce videos not for money, but I could start earning money, which that'd be kind of cool. But otherwise, I'll catch you on the flip side. See ya.